After many ups and downs, they arrive at the notary's office. The four stand outside the building, a sober and elegant townhouse near the town center. Banani. Here we are. Contratali Notary Office. Papaya. It must be a really important inheritance, to expect us at the office on a Sunday morning. Banani. Actually, the letter doesn't say they were expecting us today. Igor. Maybe because notaries are closed on Sundays. Ravioli. I don't believe it. All this rush to get here, and you just now remember that Sunday is closed. Papaya. No worries. We have some vacation days available at the observatory and we can spend the night in town. I'll book a hotel right away. Igor. No worries. Papaya booking a hotel? That's exactly what scares me. They arrive at the reception. The hotel is modest but clean and well organized. Receptionist. Good evening, do you have a reservation? Papaya. Good evening. Under the name Papaya. Receptionist. Patani. No, I don't have any Patani here. I'm sure. Papaya. Not Patani. It's Papaya. Receptionist. Papaglia? Papaya. Papaya. Receptionist. Ah, Pena. Papaya. Look, the name is on my ID. Receptionist. Oh, sorry. I'll check the system now. The receptionist searches but finds nothing. Receptionist. Sorry, but there's nothing here. Are you sure this is the right hotel? Papaya. Yes, of course. Look at the reservation. Papaya shows his phone to the receptionist. Receptionist. Ah, that explains it. The reservation is for today, but next year. You need to come back next year. Papaya. Let me see. Oops. It's true. Igor. I suggest we take that advice and go back home. Papaya. No, no. I can fix this. Papaya starts fiddling with the phone until he finds a solution. Then he triumphantly shows it to the receptionist. Papaya. There. All fixed. Now can you give us the keys? The receptionist reads the display. Receptionist. You booked the budget hotel, right? Papaya. Obviously. Receptionist. The problem is your reservation is for the budget hotel in Lugano, Switzerland. Papaya. Oops. Really? Wait, we'll fix that. Suddenly, a kind of roar comes from the sofa. Everyone turns quickly. But it's just Banani snoring. Ravioli. Wait, Papaya, let me handle this. I have a website with amazing prices. Igor. Amazingly low or high? The second is more likely. Ravioli. Done. Look, ma'am. Ravioli shows his phone to the receptionist who reads the display. Receptionist. What kind of site is this? I've never heard of it. Ravioli. It's new. It was published last month. It's called Truff in the Green. Papaya. You mean dive in the green? Ravioli. No, it says Truff, probably a typo. Igor. Holding Ravioli's phone. The only mistake is you using it. Look here, it's a fake form. In the hotel name field, I can write anything I want, then always pay €200, and it says reservation confirmed. Ravioli. I knew it. Another €200 down the drain. Igor. Worse. At least the money wasted at the restaurant turned into fertilizer for the local woods. The next day, early in the morning, they are finally at the notary's office. The secretary greets them as they enter. Secretary. Good morning, do you have an appointment? Banani. Ah, darn. I forgot to schedule it. Igor. Of course, who would think to call after receiving a mysterious letter about an inheritance from an unknown uncle, to be collected 500 kilometers away? Secretary. Ah, Mr. Banani. Sorry, we were expecting you. Do you have an ID with you? Igor. No, he doesn't, but you can recognize him by his stupidity. One of a kind. A true fingerprint of bad taste. The four heroes return home, and a week later, at the same time, they are seated in front of the notary. Notary. Very well, Mr. Banani. I understand you had some difficulty getting here. Igor. Saying Banani had some difficulty is like saying the Titanic took a little swim. Banani. Nice to meet you, Mr. Notary. So, tell me, how many millions did I inherit? Notary. Well, actually, it's not millions. Igor. Billions, of problems. The notary opens a cardboard folder on his desk. On the cover it says Will of Arcibaldo Banani. He pulls out a sheet and starts reading. I, Arcibaldo Banani, of sound mind or so they tell me, hereby declare the following. I leave to my nephew Banani my family property, including the farmhouse at 17 Scrawny Owl Street with attached warehouses, rusty farming tools, and a chicken coop infested by hens with aggressive tendencies. I also leave my precious archive of newspaper clippings on the mysterious case of the mole man of Mugello, waiting for someone to take it seriously. Finally, I leave to my beloved nephew the burden pardon, the honor of caring for my faithful dog Rufus, who doesn't hear well but still barks. Papaya. A country house? Banani. It's definitely worth millions. Notary. Actually, it has potential, but maybe after some renovation. Igor. A wreck. That's what you deserve, Banani. And this notary sure likes euphemisms. Ravioli. I can't believe it, all this trip for a dilapidated farmhouse? Igor. At least you made a bore happy. The next day, armed with a land registry map and the keys, they arrive at the site. The property is in worse condition than Igor had imagined. The driveway is overgrown with weeds, and a faded for sale sign hangs crookedly from a rusted pole. The farmhouse is half collapsed, with sagging shutters and a roof caved in at several points. A tilted chimney looks ready to fall. A suspicious smell wafts out from the slightly open door, somewhere between ancient mold and forgotten cheese. Strange noises come from the chicken coop. A hen stares at them from behind the mesh, with the gaze of one who has seen things. Banani. It's not that bad, all things considered. Igor. You're right. If you enjoy the smell of decay and love living with termites and dead pigeons, it's paradise. Banani. You're being negative, but with a good sweep, it'll all be back to normal. Igor. Sure. And a band-aid fixes a compound femur fracture too. Ravioli. As long as the oven works, I'm good. Papaya. The oven collapsed, but we could light a fire. Igor. Brilliant solution. If we burn the house down and all that's left is the land, maybe it's worth something. They enter the house. As the door opens, a roof tile falls from the collapsed ceiling, landing just inches from Ravioli. Banani. Watch out, Ravioli. Papaya. That was close. Igor. Perfect. If tetanus doesn't kill us, the falling plaster will. Ravioli. All this stress made me hungry. Igor. If the oven worked, you could cook that pigeon, only dead for a few days. Papaya. Nothing interesting in here, just peeling walls and rubble everywhere. Banani. Wait, have you seen this? Banani kicks some debris aside and reveals a rusty iron hatch. Ravioli. What is it? Igor. Not a pizza tray. Try again, Ravioli. Papaya. Looks like a secret room. Like a bunker. Banani. Maybe from the 50s, it was trendy during the Cold War. Igor. The only war here is us versus the debris. Banani. Good thing I always carry my toolkit. Doesn't seem too hard to open. Banani tries to unscrew some bolts, but they won't budge. After sweating and grunting, he gives up. Banani. No good. We'll have to find another way. Igor. Have you tried pulling it up? Igor lifts the hatch, which opens effortlessly. Banani. Brilliant. A locking mechanism hidden behind the simplest solution. None of my uncle's colleagues would have thought of that. Igor. Safe from scientists, but not from the rest of humanity. Something tells me there's a wacky invention inside. Papaya. There are stairs. They go underground. Banani. Let's go. I'm excited. Ravioli. Me too. Igor. And we all know what happens when you get excited, Ravioli. Keep your stinky emotions out of that hatch. At least while I'm down there. The four of them go through the hatch and descend the stairs. Banani lights the way with his phone flashlight. They reach the basement. An old concrete room, full of dust and cobwebs. The room is small, bare, with rough concrete walls and cracks running along them. The air smells of dust and rust. In one corner, a rusty desk with an old, never plugged-in tube radio on top. Hanging on the wall, a rotary phone still wrapped in plastic. An emergency cabinet contains untouched gauze and a sealed bottle of disinfectant. There's a folded cot leaning against the wall, never opened, and a faded poster from the 1950s reading Duck and Cover. The field latrine is still in its shrink wrap. It looks like everything was ready, but never used. As if no one ever made it in time. Banani. Ah, it's just an unused fallout shelter. Igor. What were you expecting? A secret lab with a world domination machine? Papaya. Some gold bars wouldn't have hurt. Ravioli. Or maybe a working oven with frozen pizzas. Banani. All right. I inherited a house and some land could have gone worse. Ravioli. If you sell it, at least we'll cover the expenses. Banani. Yeah, sure. But in this condition, it'll take a while to find a buyer. Igor. You need to get at least 1,200 euros. Banani. I think it's worth a bit more. But why that exact amount? Igor. So at least, split 4 ways, Ravioli gets back the 400 euros he wasted on this mission. Ravioli. Haha. Very funny. I'd love to see what you'd say if it happened to you. The four climb back up the stairs and step outside to head home. But in the garden, they find a man who looks wealthy, suit and tie, limousine with a chauffeur, and a briefcase in hand. Banani. Hello, can I help you? Man. I'm looking for engineer Banani. Banani. That's me. In person. Man. I heard you've just inherited this property. Banani. Yes. But how did you find out? Man. You see, I had been following your uncle's work with great interest. And I'd like to buy the house and land for personal reasons. Banani. I see. And how much are you willing to pay? Man. I'm prepared to offer you a very generous amount for this house. We're talking 6 figures. The man opens the briefcase, full of cash. Banani and the others stare wide-eyed at the sight of all that money. Then the chauffeur brings him a folder with a document. Man. 1 million. Right here for you. All you need to do is sign. Banani. Yes. Yes. Where do I sign? Igor. All that money for a crumbling house? I'll throw in mine too if he's interested. Papaya. Banani, maybe you should take a moment to think this over. Man. I don't want to pressure you. Take all the time you need to think it through. Here's my business card. The man places the card in Banani's hand. Banani is frozen stiff, like an icicle. Then, just as the man is about to leave, Banani calls out. Banani. Wait a second. Don't go. We just need 5 minutes to make up our minds. Please wait here, we're just stepping inside to talk. Man. Very well. Like I said, I'm in no rush. The four step back inside the house. Papaya. Listen, Banani, I think you should learn more about this house. If that guy's rich, there has to be a reason. Ravioli. Don't listen to him, Banani. Take the money and run. We'll be happy splitting half. Just imagine going home with $500,000 in your pocket. Igor. Ravioli probably means $500,000 in many pizzas, I suppose. Banani. I don't know. The money's tempting, but I'm really curious now. Papaya. Why don't we make the most of it and check out that bunker more thoroughly? Maybe there's another secret room. Banani. All right. It won't cost us anything. If that guy thinks this house is worth that much, there's gotta be something interesting here. The four return to the bunker, but find nothing but dust and broken or useless junk. Papaya. Nothing. Just cobwebs and a ping-pong paddle bent in half. Banani. And a toaster full of bolts. Igor. Disturbing. Looks like breakfast for an unemployed cyborg. Ravioli. I'm gonna sit down. I'm getting dizzy. He slumps into an old folding chair, which creaks, then snaps backward under his weight. Ravioli. Arg. He tumbles to the ground and knocks into a shelf. The shelf crashes down. A pile of old technical manuals slams into a wall, causing a thin, rotten drywall partition to collapse. Dust. Debris. Then, a small iron door appears, with a wheel in the center like the kind on submarines. Papaya. Wait, that wasn't there before. Igor. Congratulations, Ravioli. You discovered the secret entrance by throwing yourself at the furniture. Ravioli. I call it passive-aggressive detective work. It gets results. Papaya. But what's in there? Banani. Let me introduce you to the secret lab of the great Archibald Banani. Banani opens the door. It creaks loudly as it swings open. In front of them, a hidden laboratory, buried under layers of dust and cobwebs. Shelves full of test tubes, rusty instruments, jars with mysterious liquids. On the walls, hand-scribbled notes, unreadable formulas, old black and white photographs. At the center of the room, on a circular platform, a strange metallic machine, cylindrical, covered in levers, dials, and unlit lights. It looks like a cross between a radio antenna, an industrial blender, and a phone booth. Banani. Pointing at the machine. That's what's worth $1 million. The four stay in the lab, discussing what to do. Banani. I can't sell it. I need to find out what it is first. Papaya. I agree. If that guy wants to give us $1 million, it means it's worth at least 10. Ravioli. Yeah, but maybe it needs some investment to make it work. And we don't have that. Banani. Still, we can take more time to figure out what it does and how it works. Papaya. Banani's right, look at all this stuff. These are Archibald's research notes. We can only decide after we study them. Igor. Take the money. Banani. And why should we? Igor. I've seen how this story goes. You tell the guy to wait. You waste weeks studying the material. Then Banani manages to start the machine, breaks it, and tries to fix it with duct tape. Meanwhile, the rich guy who's actually a dangerous gangster loses patience and sends his goons. They kidnap you and ship you to the North Pole in a container on a cargo ship. You spend the next 3 weeks with no light, no heat, living on canned sardines. When they find you, you only speak Greenlandic, you've lost your house and your job. Big finale, you spend the rest of your career working at a supermarket as consultants for the Nordic canned fish section. All because of Banani's curiosity. For a moment, no one says a word. Banani. Okay. Let's take the money. The four head back outside. Banani signs the contract and takes the briefcase with the money. Then they split it. Banani keeps half in the briefcase, Ravioli stuffs his share into his backpack. Papaya uses grocery bags, and Igor hides the bills inside his clothes and under his shoes. Banani. So, what do we do now? Ravioli. Let's go to a restaurant. Papaya. I say we go home. Clara's waiting for me. At least she'll be happy to hear the good news. Igor. We can't go home just yet. Banani. No. And why not? Igor. This one's easy to predict. We get in the car and leave. Ravioli gets hungry. We stop at a gas station. Ravioli goes in with his backpack. He eats 10 mini pizzas on the spot, but Papaya rushes him. So he gets 30 more packed in a paper tray. But the backpack's full, and the pizzas won't fit. So he takes out the envelope with the money, puts the pizzas in instead, gets into an argument with Banani, and ends up forgetting the envelope at the bar. A truck driver finds it and, finally, after years of hard work, starts his own business. Ravioli eats all the pizzas in the car and makes a mess. Halfway home, Banani decides the car needs a wash. He stops at a car wash and separates everything in the car into 2 plastic bags, one for trash and one for things to keep. But in the end, instead of throwing away the trash bag, he tosses the one with the money. Identical bags. The next morning, a garbage man finds it and opens a surfboard shop in Hawaii. A few kilometers from home, Papaya sees a cafe that serves a rare and famous coffee cream. He decides to stop and try it. Sitting next to him is a salesman for orthopedic underwear, carrying a briefcase identical to Papaya's. Naturally, they switch them by mistake. When Papaya gets home, he announces to his wife that he has a surprise that will change their lives. Yes, 100 pairs of orthopedic underwear to improve circulation and waistline. As for me, Ravioli stops for lunch at a diner serving truffle pasta as the dish of the day. But Papaya is in a hurry, so Ravioli brings 3 portions into the car. While Ravioli eats his delicacy, the car drives through a cloud of pollen. Banani sneezes and briefly loses control. Everything's fine except my clothes, which Ravioli spills the truffle pasta on. We stop at a laundromat to fix it, but by pure chance a drug-sniffing dog walks by, smells the truffle, and I get searched. They find the money, confiscate it, and charge me with money laundering. Moral of the story, we come home right back where we started. I've got a lawyer to pay, and Ravioli's 400 euros short, having lost them along the way. Banani. So what should we do then? Igor. Something unpredictable. Papaya. Like what? Igor. Let's go to the beach. They get in the car. They take the wrong road 5 times. And in half an hour, they reach the sea. Banani parks along the promenade. Tourists stroll peacefully, some sunbathe on the beach, others swim in the calm water. Ravioli spots a gelato shop. Ravioli. Gelato. I'm going over there. Papaya. Wait. Igor's right. Carrying all that money around like this, in such a messy way, we're bound to lose it. Banani. We need a container. Something we can't easily lose, or mix up with something else. Ravioli. We could buy a lunchbox and put it all in there. Igor. Yeah, until you get hungry and eat it all, mistaking it for chips. Banani. I've got it. Leave it to me. Banani approaches a dumpster and picks up a cardboard box and 2 sheets of styrofoam. He cuts a slit halfway through each of them and fits them together in a cross shape. Then he inserts the fitted sheets into the box, dividing it into 4 equal compartments. Papaya. Crude but clever. Ravioli. Smells a bit like garbage. Banani. That's what makes it perfect. Banani takes a pencil he always keeps in his pocket kit and writes a name on each section created by the dividers. As a final touch, he sticks a small car brush onto the box. Banani. Now put your share where your name is written. Igor. If it weren't Banani's idea, I'd say it's brilliant. Banani. Exactly, Igor. We can't lose it because it's clearly visible, like a black eye. We can't mix it up with anything else, because it's, well, one of a kind. The brush is there just for that. And finally, no one would ever guess it's hiding $1 million in cash. Igor. Or chips. The 4 of them stash the money in the strange container and hide it in the car's false bottom. Then each one takes some cash, and they get out of the car, smiling. Banani. Ready for a relaxing Sunday. Papaya. And this time, no problems with the card being declined. Ravioli. And a kilo of gelato to kick things off. Igor. Or a forgotten handbrake. Igor is referring to the handbrake Banani forgot to pull. The car, parked on a slope, slowly starts rolling downhill. Papaya. Oh no. The car. It's rolling away. Ravioli. Do something, Banani. Banani tries to stop the car, but it's already picked up speed. With a determined leap, he grabs onto the frame and is dragged at full speed with no control. Banani. Oh no. Why this time of all times didn't I forget to lock it? With a cool head, Banani unlocks the car with the remote key, jumps in with an acrobatic move, and manages to pull the handbrake. The car screeches to a halt 1 inch away from the ice cream cart. From a distance, Ravioli lets out a sigh of relief. Ravioli. Phew. Banani avoided a disaster. Papaya. He saved the car from a very dangerous crash. Ravioli. No, who cares about that? The disaster was losing the gelato. Igor. Pointing at Ravioli without being seen. The real disaster is right here with us, every single day. They arrive near the beach. Banani spots a nautical shop. In the window, a large 6-meter inflatable boat. Banani. An inflatable boat. I've always dreamed of owning one. And now, I can finally buy it. Banani heads toward the shop, but Papaya stops him. Papaya. Not a chance. We can't let anyone see we have money. Low profile, remember. Banani. But it has a dragon painted on it. Papaya. Buy an ice cream. And if you really want an inflatable boat, build it yourself. Banani thinks for a second. Then he disappears behind a low wall. He comes back half an hour later with a handmade raft made of styrofoam, duct tape, and a bent clothes hanger as a rudder. Ravioli. Is it safe? Banani. It's engineering, guys. Learn to trust styrofoam. He launches himself into the sea. For a moment, everything seems stable. Then a wave comes, and the raft flips over. Banani vanishes. Igor pulls out his phone. Igor. Should I call the registry office to report a death? But just then, a dolphin jumps out of the water, with Banani clinging to its fin, coughing. The dolphin drops Banani onto the shore, makes a sound like laughter, and disappears into the waves. Papaya. Nobody say anything. Ravioli. A rather unusual rescue for Banani. Igor. Never as unusual as his blunders. Then they sit under the beach umbrella, as if it were just another normal day.